Here in Washington at the Labor Department, where this morning's jobs report came in much stronger than expected, 216,000 on that top line non-farm payroll number, with the unemployment rate holding steady at 3.7% and wage growth coming in stronger than expected at 4.1%. For more insight on this morning's jobs report, I want to welcome into the program Acting Labor Secretary Sue. Secretary Sue, thank you so much for joining me. Happy New Year.
Good to see you again. Happy New Year, Jennifer.
Good to see you. Interest rates at a 23-year high, and yet the job market continuing to surprise to the upside, yet the labor force participation rate dropped. Why was that, do you think?
Right. So these are December numbers. So let's just take a moment to recognize what happened in 2023, right? The 216,000 jobs created in December were part of a monthly average over the year of 225,000. At the same time, as you noted, unemployment remained under 4% for 23 months straight, almost 2 years, really defying all expectation. We also saw throughout the year labor force participation rate come roaring back, right? Roaring back after the pandemic. We saw it. We've talked about this here about women, right, coming back into the labor force, it reflecting both like confidence and a desire to work and ability to find jobs. And those were all part of the Bidenomics approach to an economy in which we can build the economy back through good jobs by investing in America. We can do right by workers by making sure that there's enough breathing room, right, enough wages to live on, and we don't have to have those things, you know, by sacrificing worker well-being. And so all of those things, I think, it's that coveted soft landing that many people predicted would not be possible. And so we look back on the year and say, you know, policies worked. They didn't happen by accident, and we've got more work to do in 2024 to keep it up.
But why do you think the labor force participation rate fell back?
So I think there was a tick down in December after, again, these historic highs that have come back in, right? But not in any way that's concerning. You know, these overall throughout the year and also in December, right? The overall numbers are reflective of strong and stable growth. And of course, we have more work to do. Of course, we want to make sure that everybody who wants to work can get a job and get a good job that offers them economic security, right? Dignity, you know, a job in their community so they don't have to commute really far to do it. All of those are part of our vision for 2024, building on the successes of 2023.
So then how does this forebode for the job market outlook for 2024?
So 2023 was a big year for working people, right? Big gains at the bargaining table, right? Higher wages, as you noted, you know, more retirement security, stronger health and safety protections. You know, we saw job growth across multiple sectors, right? So government was strong this past month, but leisure and hospitality has been up, construction has been up. There's been over 800,000 manufacturing jobs created since President Biden took office, and most of the investments that he's helped to make possible are still just hitting the street. So 2024, you know, we say, you know, is going to be our best year yet because policies matter, leadership matters, and we're going to be building on the strength that we have seen month over month in 2023.
Fed Chair Powell said in December during his press conference that he thinks that the era of frantic job shortages are behind us and that we're seeing job openings come back to a more normalized level. Do you agree with that? Or do you think there's more that needs to be done for the job market to come back into balance?
I think the idea of things normalizing is a good way to paint what is happening. But they're also normalizing in a way that President Biden said was possible and many people thought was not, which is record job growth, right? We're 14.2 million jobs created, combined with record low levels of strong, sustained unemployment, combined with wage growth, right? All of these things, and currently, right, wage growth that is outpacing inflation so that workers really feel it in their pocketbooks. Families can feel some more, some more financial security. So yeah, this is the, you know, Bidenomics in action, right? It's the idea that we can build that kind of economy. We've seen it happen over, you know, incredible recovery since President Biden came into office. And looking over at 2023, I think it, you know, the numbers answer the question. And we want to continue that steady, stable growth in jobs at not the breakneck speed that we saw in 2022, but more at the pace that we saw throughout 2023.
Switching gears, I want to ask you about artificial intelligence because there are a lot of concerns about this in Washington, about hiring biases being institutionalized, job killing. The Labor Department recently held a forum back in December on the pros and cons of AI. What did you learn, and how is the Labor Department prepared to ensure that AI can help actually boost the job market?
Right. So we confirmed a few things that we thought, right? One of which is that there is nothing inevitable about what AI is going to do. Everything we do are policy choices that we have a chance to make right now, and we want to make in conjunction with industry, right? Across government. The president's executive order is about a whole of government approach to making sure that we harness the benefits of AI and really make sure that we curb and limit any of the harms, right? And some of those harms, as you noted, are algorithmic bias in the adoption of AI. AI is only as good as the people who build it, and we live in a society that still has bias. We don't want that to be the future of AI. Job displacement, right? There's nothing inevitable about that. People have been talking about a robot apocalypse every time there's evolution in technology, and those are choices we can make. And what we've seen also throughout 2023 is that when workers have a seat at the table, when they have a voice in helping to figure out how will AI be deployed, how will AI be used, how can AI be used to improve workers' lives rather than to hurt it, it makes a difference. The Writers Guild, SAG-AFTRA, right? They bargained over it and found ways to protect their jobs and the future of their industries when it comes to AI. I was just with the vice president in Las Vegas. We were meeting with culinary workers who bargained around how AI will be used and how much information they get about the adoption of AI and how they're going to be a part of designing that future in their industry. So we think that AI has the potential to do good things and the potential to do bad, and which one we choose, is very much a choice.
And then before I let you go, I do want to ask you about women, the workforce, and childcare. So I have in my notes here, according to Bank of America, the average child care payment per household has risen 30% since 2019, with middle and upper income families, these are families that are earning $100,000 to $250,000 a year, seeing the biggest increase. And the investment bank says this is driving parents out of the workforce. We actually see fewer dual income households now than we did in 2019. So what is the administration prepared to do about this to boost participation in the workforce?
It's such an important question. This is why President Biden has said from day one, we have to make sure that we build our child care infrastructure along with all of our physical infrastructure, right? This is something that dramatically affected labor force participation during the pandemic, right? We certainly saw that. But we also know that if we do not address childcare needs, and frankly, this expands beyond childcare, right, to elder care, and we have an aging population. So if we don't address those, it is going to have a dramatic impact on the ability of women in particular to participate in the labor force. In fact, the Department of Labor recently put out a study that found that if the United States invested in childcare and other family-friendly policies like paid leave in the way that other comparable developed countries do, if we did that, it would drive economic growth to the tune of billions of dollars. It's a cost of doing nothing report, meaning if we don't do it, it's costing us as a country about $775 billion a year. So, people often talk about the cost of childcare. We also have to think about the cost if we don't do enough. And so that's why we are so focused as an administration on doing everything we can within our power to really build up the childcare infrastructure and to support childcare jobs so that they're also good jobs, because they're also overwhelmingly done by women.
Yeah, I mean, to your point, in that report that you're referring to, the labor force participation rate for women in the largest 15 countries, when we compare the U.S., we're dead last. But we'll have to leave the conversation there. Thank you so much for your insight, as always, Secretary Sue. Look forward to speaking with you next month.